Hello, and welcome to the first in this three-part PowerPoint video series on iBest. This series has been created to explain, in an as comprehensive but easy to follow way as possible, the three iBest models developed and supported by Washington State's Board for Community and Technical Colleges. I'm William Durden, the iBest Policy Associate at the State Board, and I will be guiding you through the three models throughout this video series. This series begins with the professional, technical, or traditional iBest model. iBest began in this way, and it is this model that continues to be the most well-known. The key information to remember for traditional iBest is that it is a contextualized, co-enrolled career pathway that allows adult education students to earn college credits and work toward a credential or degree that leads to a living wage job at the same time that they gain mastery of critical basic skills. Traditionally, students come into a community or technical college who test into adult basic or English language learning education have had to complete level after level of basic education or English language instruction before enrolling in credit-bearing career pathway programs. For example, a student might test into ABE Level 3 and then have to complete Levels 4, ASE Level 1, and ASC Level 2 without earning any college credit or learning any workplace-specific skills. And this doesn't even take into account any developmental education courses a student might be expected to take after ABE, but still before the college or career pathway. A sharp dividing line stands between these students and access to a career pathway that leads to a certificate or degree and a living wage job. And we know that the vast majority of traditionally enrolled ABE-ESL students never make it across this line and into those pathways that lead to family-sustaining jobs and the reduction of intergenerational cycles of poverty. iBest is founded on the belief, now supported by copious amounts of evidence, that the reason traditionally enrolled students fail to progress is institutional, not individual, and that with the right mix of innovative support and instruction, non-traditional students can and do succeed in college-level career pathways. With iBest, students are able to enroll in high-demand, living-wage career pathways right away. What iBest does is take an existing high-demand living-wage career pathway, whether that's in business technology, aviation mechanics, or a profession in allied health, and then opens that pathway up to students who were previously deemed too low-skilled to succeed. Many find it helpful to use the term iBest as a verb, as in, we have iBested our aviation mechanics program. From this view, iBest is really more of a conduit and a delivery model than it is a program. iBest does not create new pathways for students. Instead, it creates access for students who previously were not able to be placed into those pre-existing pathways. So we know that iBest places students onto pathways who previously did not have access. The very good question you might be asking right now is, so how do the students succeed if they are in need of basic skills instruction? While there are many critical answers to this question, all of which we'll explore in this presentation, the most fundamental answer is that students succeed in these pathways because of the dynamic team teaching that takes place in the classroom. In an iBest classroom, an adult basic education or English language learning instructor is paired up with a professional technical content instructor. The Prof Tech content instructor teaches in their area of expertise, such as welding, medical assisting, or early childhood education, while the basic skills instructor teaches contextualized literacy, numeracy, and workplace skills at the same time and in the same classroom. What follows now is an embedded video clip of one of our star teaching teams, Candy Bentu and Rachel Woods. Watch as they team teach in an early childhood education classroom that has been iBested. This clip captures the essence of team teaching, both in terms of technique and in terms of the contextualization of the curriculum. When we say that iBest is a contextualized, co-enrolled career pathway with integrated adult education and workforce training, this is what we mean.
What is a ratio? How many children in our industry, how many children can a teacher be responsible for at the same time? A family child care provider can be responsible for a maximum of how many children? Six, that's right. And if you have infants, you can only have how many infants if you're family child care? Two. That's right. If you are in a center, a child care center, how many infants or toddlers, let's do infants first. How many infants can you do?
I can have 4 to 1 teacher.
4 to 1 teacher? What about if I have a toddler classroom, they're over 12 months old?
4.
7, very good way.
Can you imagine 7 toddlers in one classroom? So I want to point out, I want you to look at how I'm writing the ratios. So look at again the word ratio. It's a weird spelling. The TIO, it makes that show sound. Okay, show. And now look at this. I'm going to do it in red. Look at this symbol right here. Now when we're writing, that's called a colon, and we use it in math as well. And so the colon represents the idea of ratio. So when you see this, we would say it 1 to 6, or 1 to 2, or what's this? 1 to 4. And 1 to 7. Oops, 4 is OUR. So think about as you're taking your test, and if you see this symbol, think of it as, just remember the word ratio. Okay, and this is how many teachers per child. You are the one, and this is the children, right? What happens if there's 2 teachers, Candy?
So I want to back up just a little bit, because what about a preschooler, 3 to 5 years old? How many?
In a nutshell, a traditional IBEST teaching team consists of an ABE or ESL instructor and a professional technical instructor teaching in the same classroom at the same time for at least 50% of the time and up to 100% of the time. A separate ABE ESL only support class is optional. Behind the scenes, IBEST works not just through dynamic team teaching, but through a specific set of progressive educational policies and practices. First, the collaboration between team teachers extends beyond the classroom and into planning time spent before, during, and after course delivery. IBEST works through the contextualization of college and career readiness standards with professional technical outcomes, and by delivering integrated curriculum through team teaching. In addition to the contextualized curriculum and team teaching, IBEST recognizes that wraparound support services are needed for students to succeed. An IBEST director, coordinator, or navigator will often help students outside of the classroom to connect with services like understanding and navigating college systems, funding support, and transportation and childcare assistance. A common concern is that IBEST costs more because of the additional instruction and the greater wraparound support services needed. To cover these costs and support IBEST as an institutionally viable and sustainable model, the State Board for Community and Technical Colleges runs an application process for IBEST. Approved programs receive enhanced funding, 1.75 FTE for every 1 FTE served. The additional 0.75 FTE covers the cost of team teaching and wraparound support services. In addition to state support, we have critical federal funding support for students as well. Ability to Benefit provides federal funding opportunities for students without a high school diploma or equivalency. So long as students are able to earn 6 college credits funded through other means, the federal government sees the student as having the ability to benefit from federal support to continue their education along a career pathway. And as a result of the passage of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act in 2014, we also know that we have broad federal support for IBEST as a way of doing business in basic education for adults. IBEST, while not called out by name, was in mind as key pieces of WIOA were written. The federal government is looking for colleges to increase and improve contextualized, co-enrolled pathways that accelerate students further and faster toward college credit, credentials and degrees, and a living wage job. IBEST does this, and as we look to strengthen and increase the amount of IBESTed pathways in the state, we know that we have the strength of WIOA and the federal government behind us. Traditional barriers to success for adult education and English language students are more often than not institutional and financial in nature. With WIOA and ability to benefit in place, there has never been a better time to build strong college and career pathways and provide students with the instructional and institutional support they need to succeed. I hope that you have found this overview of the traditional IBEST model helpful. Be sure to check out the other 2 videos in this series, overviewing academic IBEST and the IBEST expansion into developmental education. If you have any questions about this overview or anything else related to IBEST, don't hesitate to contact me at wdurden@sbctc.edu or 360-704-4368.